Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome everybody back to another video on the channel. Rogue Company has been a game that's picking up a lot of steam recently. If you've been paying attention at all, this has been a game that has sort of come out of nowhere and has really cultivated an audience from not only third-person perspective gamers, but FPS titles alike. And I've pretty much been following this game since it came out, and I have been playing in that same time period, and I really had no intention on making content on it, and I figured that I'm spending so much time playing this game that I may as well, and I found out that I really enjoy this game. As I'm sure a lot of you guys who have started playing this will agree, it's just like a really refreshing experience, and I would say it's a very sound and well put together game. With that being said, Rogue Company is obviously still in its infancy and at the early point in its life cycle, so it's still going to undergo quite a significant amount of changes, especially when we compare this point in time to much down the road, and we're going to start seeing our first major updates here very soon, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So if you guys are interested in keeping up to date with Rogue Company news and changes and all that sort of stuff, just show me by dropping a like rating if there really is more demand for this, and make sure that you are subscribed if you're new to the channel. If you want to see more company content, I've got you covered on here. So Hi-Res Studios released a hotfix not long ago that fixed a number of things, but most notably they actually suspended and banned some players temporarily. So there was an exploit that some of you may or may not know about that allowed you to duplicate melee weapons, and literally 2 days ago, the first match I got on, the entire enemy team all had duplicated melee weapons and could throw unlimited amounts of them, and it was absolutely ridiculous. So if you either, participated in this glitch or had to go up against it, then those cheaters, or let's just say exploiters right now, were pretty obviously banned. This glitch was found and snuffed out pretty quickly, so I'm happy that they were on top of things and it was taken care of in a timely manner. In this hotfix, they also introduced a few changes to some rogues and some visual changes. They changed the player identity banner, made that a little bit more polished. They also changed apparently an audio issue that allowed you to hear players that were crouch walking, which still I feel like is somewhat of an intended feature because you should be able to hear crouch walking, maybe just not as well, but it shouldn't be completely silent. What it says in the patch notes, it seems to be indicating that there was no difference in the audio levels between an enemy that was walking versus crouch walking, so it looks like they've got that sorted out. They've also resolved an issue in Anvil not being able to drop his barricade anywhere. Now, this was a problem that I experienced, and I think many players on all platforms experienced as well. It was a pretty big problem for a fairly long period of time. Anvil could not drop his ability hardly anywhere, and it was just completely bugged, and it looks like they've gotten that taken care of as well. So if you're a player that's gotten used to flanking anvils because you know they're not going to lay their barricade down because they physically can't, you're punching the air right now. They also say they fixed an issue where players would be teleporting while firing high fire rate weapons. Now, I can't say that I particularly experienced this glitch. I had a few questionable gunfights where my character model looked rather weird, and I don't know if that was based on the gun that I was shooting or what. Maybe it had been a server backend issue. I have no idea, but apparently there was some sort of glitch, or probably not to call it an exploit, but it looked like your character was teleporting when shooting a pretty high fire rate weapon. Whether this was simply a visual glitch or something that actually affected in-game, it's not exactly clear, but they have got that problem sorted out as well. And finally, they also fixed an issue where the damage total from glitch was not being displayed properly, and they do confirm that this was only a visual glitch. The proper amount of damage was still being put out, but it just visually was wrong. Regardless of the outcome, can you imagine glitch having glitches? Moving on, we got to talk a little bit about ranked mode. So this is going to be coming up in the next update. Now, it isn't the fully fledged ranked mode from what they're, sort of implying here. It's simply going to be a ranked beta. Now, this is a screenshot of how all of these ranks are going to work. So clearly, you have your first rank, which is bronze, level 1 to 4, silver 5 to 9, gold 10 to 14, platinum 15 to 19, diamond 20 to 24, master 25 to 29, and then finally hitting 30 is going to make you an actual rogue. I think it would also be helpful to talk about how ranked is going to work, essentially how you're going to climb through the ranks and potentially lose it, and then we should also discuss the effect that this may have on typical matchmaking. So while Hi-Res has not released the full details of how in particular ranked is going to work, it's pretty safe to assume that the better you perform, not only as an individual player, but more importantly as a team, and the more that you're winning as a whole, you're of course going to climb up in ranks, and losing rank will be obviously if you lose to teams that are far worse than you, or even teams that are of your level. You may get knocked down a little bit. It's probably going to be a weighted system where, let's say you are a rogue, you are top rank, and for whatever reason you lose to a bronze team, then you're probably going to drop pretty dramatically in rank. It's going to be a weighted situation. Of course, that is me speculating a little bit, but that's typically how a traditional rank system is going to work, and I wouldn't be surprised if they implement a lot of those ideas into their ranked. So while the addition of ranked might present a little bit of a problem for typical matchmaking because it's going to split a player base up at least what we could consider maybe a 60-40 split, I don't think it's going to be much of an issue because fortunately Rogue Company not only is a free to play game, but is fully cross-play as well. And at this point, it's not obvious how matchmaking within ranked is going to work based on your platform. So for example, if you're like a PC player and one of your friends is on PlayStation and the other friend is on a Nintendo Switch, who really knows what that's going to match you with? I would imagine it would prioritize input-based matchmaking, but that I really don't know the specifics of. At this point in time, with Rogue Company's exponentially growing player base, I wouldn't imagine there'd be much trouble pairing you up with people of your potential platform, but I may not know exactly how that's all going to work. Also, it's important to keep in mind that it is a ranked beta, and we'll likely see some changes due to player feedback after we all get our hands on it, so stay tuned for more changes on that. Next up, I want to talk about a change to a perk coming, which is Headstrong. So a Rogue Company dev actually tweeted about this, and he said the perk Headstrong that gives you extra armor is completely underperforming at the moment, and the main reason is that it's only 25 extra HP on the initial life that you bring in. So if you happen to get tagged by like a single bullet as you're, starting to position, maybe somebody gets a lucky line of sight on you, that armor is pretty much gone forever, and you essentially wasted all of that money on that perk, and it's going nowhere. So it seems like this perk is going to be getting an adjustment where you can actually repair the Headstrong perk in game. Now, the details on how you're going to perform that action are still not revealed, and we don't know how to fix Headstrong, whether it's like getting kills or I don't know, something in game like capping an objective or reviving a teammate. I would imagine something not too difficult, as it's only 25 extra HP. There may be a cap on how many times you can repair it per round or per game, but again, the details on that are still unclear, but it is getting a pretty major buff. I think this is going to do a lot for the balance of the game, because while as much as I like that perk, I don't believe that the benefit is really worth the risk and the money and the actual cash you have to put into getting that one. Of course, only a few rogues have that ability, so this is not going to be the most game-changing effect or balancing patch that they're doing, but it is important to note for people that like that perk, it's going to be receiving a fundamental change probably within the next update along with ranked mode. Now, I want to talk a little bit about some new game modes coming that are probably not within the next update, but are potentially expected down the road. So this is coming from a Rogue Company leaker over on Twitter, and there is a game mode called Wingman that is reportedly in the works and could be showing up. Now, again, it is important to keep in mind that with all leaks, you should take these with a grain of salt, as some of these things may be completely scrapped at the moment or could be reworked for the final release and build of the game. So the idea is called Wingman, and this is going to be a 2v2 or a 3v3 game mode. So while it is still maintaining the same fundamental concept and gameplay of Rogue Company, it is a little bit of a departure from the traditional 4v4, which essentially every single game mode in Rogue Company operates on right now. There's some new maps that come along with it as well, namely Depot, Rooftop, District, and Windward. Now, Windward is reportedly a scrapped map right now, and we may not see this one in the future. It's possible that it could be reworked for later on, but we don't know at this point. And also, these maps could eventually make their way and be implemented into the traditional Rogue Company game modes that we have at the moment, but it looks like these are developed specifically for Wingman. And in case you missed some balancing changes to rogues, Anvil is no longer immune to EMPs and slows. Chalk, his ability duration has been increased from 7 seconds to 15, and his down health was increased to 50. Ronin has now removed Sixth Sense and has tracker rounds. Ballistic Knife proximity damage reduced from 125 to 100. Vi has also removed Sixth Sense and now has tracker rounds. Same thing with Talon, and he's also had an adjustment where a sprint out would be way longer than intended, and also Glitch has removed Sixth Sense and now has Headstrong. One of the things that's incredibly important to know, guys, is that the feedback from the community on the changes that come to Rogue Company are absolutely vital in shaping the narrative and the meta of the game. So as ranked comes to the live servers in the very next patch, then make sure to try try it out and let them know what you think of it. Again, as this one is in beta, it's likely going to see some pretty major changes before it's finally released. I would also expect the Wingman game mode to be added at some point in the near future. I don't know if it's going to be immediately, as again, that one is potentially a leaked game mode right now and may be receiving some pretty big changes before it gets implemented into the game that we are already playing. But these are a lot of things to expect in the next patch, and I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, make sure to leave a like, rating, subscribe if you are brand new to the channel, and let me know your opinions on all of this down below. Is there anything you're excited about, concerned about, questions, comments? I'd love to know down below. But anyways, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next live stream or the next video. Have a great rest of your day. I gotta go, and peace out.